In the shadows of the mind where secrets hide, we dive into the dark where truth collides.
Forensic minds unravel the twisted thread. True crime tales from the living and the dead.
Why did they do it? To help, for love, in anger or insane? Who will remember them? Who is to blame? The victims deserve justice. The guilty should be until the end of time. Echoes of the past in every crime.
From the profiler's chair to the courtroom fight, we seek the reasons in the dead of night.
Motives buried deep in hearts gone cold. Stories of the broken waiting to be told. Why did they do it? To help, for love, in anger or insane? Who will remember them? Who is to blame? The victims deserve justice. The guilty should be until the end of time. Join the quest, uncover the line.
All right, everybody. I hope you guys are all doing very, very well. Today is June the 5th, 2026. Yeah, I'm in my hookah bed. It's my hookah bed. All right. I have been working all day today, so I'm tired. And I said, I want to go live. I want to have a little discussion, but I want to be relaxed and comfortable. So we're going to do it old school. Okay. We're not going to be pretentious over here. Pretend like we're real journalists. We are not. We are just a citizen with an opinion. All right. So that's going to have to do. If you need a real journalist, I guess you're going to have to go find Lauren Matthias, is all I know. All right, Kathy R, Sketty Nona, how are you guys doing? Sketty, you're the winner today. Bling, I hope you are doing okay. I'm not going to say great because I know you're a little under the weather, but I am thinking of you and you are in my prayers. So I hope you are at least comfortable. All right. Okay, so there's other people here too, but they're not commenting. So, hey, all of you guys in the bushes, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. There's an awful lot to talk about. And I do want to say this, the things that are happening with Christina Mack, that in my opinion, go directly back to the Matthias organized crime ring. Ha ha. We will be talking about that, but I really didn't have time to do, it's going to be a long video. And I don't really have time to do that today because I am incredibly tired. I have a snake in my house. A snake in a cage or a snake not in a cage? Hey, Miss Jamie, so good to see you. Thank you for being here. No longer in the bushes. And I see your absolutely beautiful Is that a husky? Wow, he or she is gorgeous. I think it's a husky. Yeah. Very nice, Miss Jamie. Beautiful, beautiful pet. Um, I don't know how it got upstairs. It's not in a cage. You have a snake on the run in your house. That's terrifying, Sketty Nona. I found its skin was shed. Oh my God. How are you going to sleep tonight? I wouldn't be able to sleep. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I would think the snake's in the bed. I would be terrified. Yeah. You can call the county and they have people that will come out and remove snakes and other wild creatures from your home, right? Okay. Yeah, Miss Jamie, I'm loving your dog. I'm in the process right now. I was thinking, me too, Gigi. That's terrifying. The toilet I use at night. Not anymore. Oh my God. No, not in the dark. No, light on. That is terrifying. Yeah. Can you tell what kind of snake it is? Like, is it a rattlesnake? At least a rattlesnake will warn you, right? It's probably going to be it might be something like a water moccasin with it being hot, turning off hot like that. They may have been looking for cool. Oh my God, Kathy, it's terrifying. Yeah. Okay. So this trial, this looming disaster in Dallas, Texas. There are some insane people in this world, and they are all supporting Karmelo Anthony. They have been attracted to Dallas, Collin County Courthouse, and they are there to support Karmelo, and they're crazy. Like, I'm scared of them. If I lived in that area and thought, hey, I think I'm going to go to the trial, I would not go based on the people that this trial is attracting. No, I wouldn't be sleeping either, Sketty. No. There's a real problem brewing in Dallas. And it's infuriating that it is the year 2026 and this nonsense is happening. Do you know what I mean? I get the whole thing about, let's see, Bling says, I was at the courthouse today getting a new truck registered. Did you see the protesters? I can't believe what I'm hearing from the people at the courthouse. It's craziness. And it's not just the outside protesters. It's what these people are doing in the courthouse as well. There's things are about to go off the rails, I fear. One thing I think is probably going to end up happening. Now, I got to be careful about what I say. Hey, old woman of the hills, welcome. I'm loving is that an orchid or is that a hibiscus? I think it's a hibiscus. It's beautiful, whatever it is. So the judge in this case, the prosecution of Karmelo Anthony for murder of Austin Metcalf. The judge is his name is John Roach Jr. And they're making a big deal of this because they're saying, oh, he's a Republican judge, blah, blah, blah. Well, he's elected. Okay. And yes, he does describe himself as a constitutionalist, and that it be following the Constitution, following the written law. A lot of people that are more liberal in thought, they don't like that. They think that the Constitution should be open to interpretation, right? And so right there, they're already fighting about that. They're saying they basically what they're wanting is they're wanting a judge who is not a constitutionalist. They're wanting a judge who will play fast and loose with the law, with the statutes. And that's not going to happen with this judge. This judge is going to go by the book. He is. I went back and looked at all of his, like his campaign materials, his speeches. He is a constitutionalist. He is going to go by the statutes that are laid out. He's going to go through word by word with a fine-tooth comb, and that's what he's going to do it. He has already begun this process, like he invoked a gag order. He put limits on people that were allowed in the courtroom. He doesn't want any nonsense. And yet they've already had nonsense. For example, there was a woman who got into the courtroom, I think like on the second day of jury selection, I believe. She got into the courtroom and began to film the prospective jurors. Now, this is a guy who has said, we are not having any audio recordings. We're not having any video recordings. This is going to be done by the book. We are not doing this. We are not doing all this drama. There is one young man who is dead, who had his life stolen from him. And there's another young man who is looking at life in prison. And I don't care about all of your political BS. We're doing this by the book. And that is consistent with judges who define themselves as constitutionalists. They go by the book. All right. So this one lady got into a lot of trouble, and I hear through the grapevine that they will be prosecuting her for her nonsense. I suspect, it's my guess, that there's probably going to be a lot of antics that could be used to overturn a conviction. I think that's what went on with Alec Murdaugh's trial. I've often wondered if Becky Hill didn't get paid off by the Murdaughs for jury tampering, right? And that is what the woman at Karmelo Anthony's trial, that is what she's being charged with, is jury tampering. So all of that, we've got a jury seated, and we got opening statements, and then we've had people have testified that are eyewitnesses. They were on the scene that day. Okay, now this is not slated to be a marathon trial. They're looking at this being all wrapped up by next week, next Friday. There's a lot of evidence against Karmelo. There's a lot of evidence against this young man. They're really not anticipating that this is going to be a difficult sell. And there are some very uncomfortable, dramatic things that are already starting that don't bode well for next week, or even what are you going to do after you get a verdict. Things are very uncomfortable right now. So let's take a quick listen. First of all, this is just an update. And WFAA, and that is who this reporter is with. WFAA, they are in the courtroom. They have multiple journalists not as good a journalist as Lauren Matthias, people, because she's the best. All right, let's keep it all straight. He is not going to be as good as Lauren. All right, so I just don't be expecting a lot from the dude. He is not up to the standards of Wowin. Okay. I'm feeling very angry with Lauren Matthias today. So you're going to get some snark where she's concerned. I'm sick of her and her minions. So let's listen to this professional journalist who works for WFAA. He is providing a little insight into what they have
breaking news
today.
We just heard opening statements in the Frisco track meet stabbing trial and got our first look at the jury. From their vantage point, our reporters inside the courtroom said at least half of the 18 panelists, 12 jurors, and 6 alternates are women. Several, they report, are people of color, including one woman wearing a hijab. We'll talk about why race has been so important in that jury selection process in just a moment. But first, the opening statement from the prosecution. Prosecutors say Karmelo Anthony, quote, plunged a knife into the chest of Austin Metcalf. They say, quote, this case is not self-defense, and, quote, this was simply senseless. Prosecutor says there's surveillance video that shows this and says this was, quote, provoked unjustified murder. Then the defense attorney Mike Howard talked about Anthony as a son, a brother, a boyfriend, a friend, and a student athlete. And then he said that it was Metcalf who made the first physical contact, grabbing, shoving, pushing Anthony. Right now in court, they're hearing testimony, but let's talk about the racial makeup of the jury and why that's raised so many community concerns over the last 24 hours. The defense yesterday raised a challenge in jury selection, saying prosecutors removed the final 3 people from the jury pool who identified as African American on a form filled out. The judge ruled.
Okay.
Prosecutors.
So, first of all, how are you guys going to feel if you have to stand trial for murder? Let's take me, for example, okay? And this, please, people, this is not a threat against Wawin. I'm not making a threat against Lauren Matthias. Okay, so nobody run over. She's going to be very upset. She's going to say, oh my God, this is a death threat. This is a death. No, it's not a death threat, Lauren. It's not about you. I don't care about you right now. Okay. But let's just say that I was driven to madness and I killed someone, not you, Lauren, just any hypothetical person. Okay. Yeah, my husband just said, you can kill me in your example. Okay, so let's just make an example that I killed Piddle and Bill, okay? Thank you for helping out, Bill. I appreciate that. Okay. If I were to get arrested for murdering a hypothetical person, let's say, do you believe that I would be taken seriously if I had my attorney stand up and say, we're not going to accept any Black people on her jury because she is white? Right? Y'all, does that make sense? That because my appearance is white with kind of reddish blonde hair, that all the people on my jury need to be white with reddish blonde hair. Oh, and one more thing. All the people on the jury, they have to have a great grandmother who is full-blooded Blackfoot Indian. I mean, that's only fair, isn't it? That's only fair, right? Okay. That's what they have reduced this to now, okay? Many of the African-American potential jurors were immediately struck because they said Karmelo Anthony is innocent. That boy, that white boy was coming for him. That white boy was going to kill him. That is literally some of the answers that were on the forms. So they shot their own selves in the foot, so to speak, right? So then they end up where they're left with 3 African American people, and the prosecution still had strikes. And they struck these 3 African American teachers for cause, right? They said, look, these are teachers in Frisco. They're going to, this is too close to them. They're either going to feel in support of Austin Metcalf, or they're going to feel protective of Karmelo. And so because this is so personal to 3 teachers in Frisco, think about that. We would be wide open to getting any verdict turned over, right? So the prosecutors, they used their strikes, and the defense stood up and said, we take issue with this. This is not fair. You're removing the only African Americans that are left in the potential jury pool. And I was going, so what? If I'm going to get arrested for murdering someone, am I going to be allowed by law to say that I am going to get an unfair trial because there's no strawberry blonde ladies on the jury? Am I going to be able to say this is an unfair jury because there's no, 60-year-old white ladies on it? No, I would get laughed out of court, absolutely laughed out. And if my attorneys came out and said, we do not want a single Black person on this jury, that's going to get your butt in hot water too, right? But we've morphed into a weird world in Dallas where the what you look like is going to determine whether you can make a fair judgment or not. Only African Americans have the ability to have a fair judgment. That's what they're saying. That's what they believe. I mean, that would be a jury of your peers, right? No. We only want this is jewels of thought, that a standing trial, and we will only accept 60-year-old white women with strawberry blonde hair who have a great grandmother who is full-blooded Blackfoot Indian. That's the only thing we're going to accept. Dumb. What are we going to do next? What are we going to do? You can't serve on my jury. You can't stand in judgment of me because I have blue eyes and you have green eyes. You will be struck because you don't look right. They're doing it. This is their request. This is what they're asking for. Imagine. Now, there are people of color on the seated jury. Okay, there's 2. One is apparently a Middle Eastern descent woman. She's described as a person of color, and she does wear a hijab. Okay, so that's why I'm saying she must be like Middle Eastern, maybe Africa, but she is not considered African American, right? So it kind of made me think, okay, well, maybe she's Palestinian. That could be possible, right? Falafel reacts as Palestinian. So there's that person. And then there is another person on the jury that the description sort of makes me think they may be like Hispanic, right? So I thought that our appearance didn't have anything to do with how we thought about things, our personal morality. But why this battle that it's a fixed trial because there's no African Americans on the jury? Why? When the Texas law was followed, and that is, are you removing these 3 jurors? Are you exercising properly the strikes that you have remaining? Are you doing it because of these people's race? And they're like, absolutely not. We're doing it because they are teachers in the very place where both of these young men were attending school, and they were at a school function when the murder happened. They were at a track meet. So who in their right mind would even think that that was appropriate to leave 3 Frisco educators on the jury? Why would that even be remotely plausible? None, right? None. All right. So it's weird times in Dallas. The rational, logical thought seems to have left the building. All right. Okay. So let me remove this. Then, hang on. Why isn't it? Hold on. It should leave here. Sorry, it's taking me a little time to get it pulled up. I think this is what I'm looking for right here. Make sure you guys can see it. Okay. So they're saying, as you read this, it's saying it's time to come together and show support. It's the day 5 of the trial. That's 3 days for jury selection, 2 days in the courtroom. Okay, so that's why there's a little discrepancy in my title and what this report is. All right. Let's see. I want to take my own picture. Okay. If you can still hear me, put a 1 in the chat. Can y'all hear me? Hello? Okay, great. Thank you, Vicki. Appreciate it. Okay, now then. I want to go down. These are some videos. These are some videos showing the protesters that are standing up. What do you think? Do you think they're standing up to the young man that lost his life? The young man who was exactly where he was supposed to be, in that he was a contender. He was a performing athlete that day. He was supposed to compete. He was an official student at a school-sanctioned event where he was a named athlete, and he was in his tent, his school tent, right exactly where he was supposed to be, and he was following the rules of the meet. Now, that was Austin, the attractive kid on the right, okay? He was supposed to be at the meet. He was supposed to be competing. He was supposed to be under the tent with his teammates. He He was exactly doing everything he was supposed to be doing. Now, the protesters that you see on the left, let me tell you about them. They are supporting a kid who was not competing. Yeah, you don't ever hear anybody say that, do you? That he didn't make the travel team. He was supposed to be in class that day, which is probably why he was sitting away from all of his people and got into the tent that belonged to a different school, because he wasn't supposed to be there. And if he had gotten into his own school's tent, then he'd have gotten in trouble for skipping school. So right there off the bat, we got a kid who says, I'm special. The rules were not made for me. My mommy and daddy told me the rules were not made for me. Now we're about to see mommy and daddy's friends. We're about to see the messaging that Karmelo grew up with in his home with his mom and his dad. All right? So he's supposed to be at school in class. He's not. He's supposed to be, if he were an athlete or a competitor that day, he was supposed to be under his team's tent. He was not. He intentionally went to that tent where he was not supposed to be there. He was breaking every rule that was in place to keep the athletes protected. Before anything happened, Karmelo was breaking the rules. Breaking the rules. And apparently, mommy and daddy don't care. Apparently, mommy and daddy taught Karmelo that he was special. Now, this is a very curious little clip here. What you're seeing is you're seeing a group of people who were holding up the same sign that the jurors in the O.J. Simpson trial held up when they came back with their not guilty verdict. They walked into the courtroom to take their seats, and they looked over at O.J. and did the Black Power sign. And then it was only after they were seated that the judge read the verdict, and that was not guilty of murdering his wife and a waiter who was bringing her glasses that she left at the restaurant. Yeah, both of them were white. So imagine they're waiting on the jury. They've had deliberations. Now everybody's in the courtroom, including the family members of Nicole Brown Simpson and also Ron Goldman. And they're sitting there and they watch a jury come in who are looking at O.J. Simpson and give the Black Power sign. This going on outside of Fulton County Courthouse. This is what the murdered kids, friends, and family are being confronted with every day.
Love, respect, and peace, that's us. Love, respect, and peace, that's us.
Whoops, sorry about that. Love, respect, peace, that is us. Karmelo was murdered by a white supremacist, don't you know? love and peace and respect. That is us. Now, Karmelo's not the dead guy, y'all. The dead guy who was an identified competitor. He was one of the athletes competing that day, and he was under his school's tent exactly where he was supposed to be. And he told Karmelo, leave the tent. You're not supposed to be here. We have rules. You are not allowed in our tent. We are not allowed in your tent. Go back to your tent. And the little dumbass said, touch me and see what happens. And he was the kid breaking another rule, carrying a 5-inch blade with him that he sunk into Karmelo Anthony, sunk into Austin Metcalf's chest. No questions asked. Why? Why? Because he's special. He's allowed to break the rules that were set by the district to keep the athletes safe. But these clowns are running around out in front of the courthouse creating a spectacle with their dumb ass little Black Power signs. And make no mistake about it, if they show up and they start making Nazi Germany salutes, I'm going to be just as furious about that. So this isn't about like if you're Black or if you're white. It's none of that. This whole race issue has been created by these clowns to the tune of $1 million GoFundMe. $1 million GoFundMe where Karmelo Anthony petitioned the government to lower his bail to $250,000. He said that they had no money. They could not do the bail that was first put in place. And the judge, this old racist, white supremacist judge, he lowered the bond to $250,000, which means they only had to put $25,000 up. Right? Boy, real racist, right? And then they found out that this family was living in a gated community in $1 million home. And they're sitting on, at the time that all this happened, they were sitting on $500,000 in a GoFundMe. Now, they spent the money, or they've presented it as they have spent the money. And they've now complained that they don't have enough money to get Karmelo a good attorney, that they're going to have to use a attorney for indigent people. But you bought new cars. Help me understand that. Wait, how did that happen? But never fear, because the same group of racists jumped up and gave them more money. So don't worry about Karmelo. He's got the very best attorneys that money can buy.
Respect and peace, that's us. Love, respect, 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 and peace, that's us. Respect and peace, that's us.
Now, you listening, you hear that. That is Middle Eastern celebration, women doing this celebration thing that they do. So I'm assuming that the group is probably maybe got some practicing Muslims in it, maybe. So don't you guys worry. You got a lady in a hijab on the jury, so don't fret about the 3 teachers that were struck for cause, okay? Now then. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Looks like people are getting a little bit put out with you guys. You're in the road. Get out of the road. Didn't your mommy teach you not to play in the street? It's incredible. You're not even allowed to hear what they are screaming at this car because it's just vile and filthy, right? So it's just beep, beep, beep. But you see them standing in front of the truck, and the truck is like, nope, sorry, not doing this. I'm not stopping. Aha, look at there. There's the hijab. There it is. I knew I heard it. I heard it. Yep, there it is. Man. All right. So the driver says, we're not stopping. I'm not doing this. You get out of the damn road. You're all adults. You know better. And they didn't like that. So somebody threw water on somebody else, and it was bad. All right. Now then. Now, get ready for this, because this will make it very clear. It explains what the problem is here. Okay? You want to know what makes a 17-year-old kid skip school, go to a meet that he did not qualify to attend, and then go sit under the tent of another school. And then when he's told, get out, you're not following the rules, he says, come mess with me, come make me move. And then he stabs the kid with a 5-inch blade. You want to know what got Karmelo Anthony to that arrest point? You want to know what made this 17-year-old kid, who rightfully should have been at school in class, but instead he's committing murder of another kid? You want to know what got him there? I'm about to show you. Listen to the nonsense coming out of these people's mouths.
Or cause any violence. He's trying to say what he wants to say. And in America, we have that right. And of course, the response that he's getting is extreme vitriol, and even calls. So it's just like yelling the same thing over and over again.
This is the reason why Austin Metcalf is dead. Because this is a response that is told. This is a response they teach their young people to have. This is a response that the mothers, the black mothers in this community.
They start screaming. They start saying, your time is done. The white man is done. Your time is over. Right? So this is what they're screaming at the people that are there supporting Austin Metcalf. So Karmelo Anthony is listening to this nonsense from being a little boy on up. He is listening to the most vile, racist rhetoric that I mean, I can't even believe that these people don't know that racism is essentially illegal, right? We're not allowed to treat people this way. We're not allowed to call people filthy names based on their race or religion. It's not allowed. But apparently Karmelo's parents and their closest friends have a whole different view of it. Apparently, if you are Black, you can say and do whatever you want to do, no matter how racist or vile it is. You are allowed, you are entitled to hate people with white skin.
We already know y'all pick a side. We know what side y'all go when y'all got out the car. We know when y'all sat in the car and talked on the walkie-talkies. We already know what y'all got going on. No, we already know y'all know the water taking. Hey, there they go again. There go Karmelo. Go to jump out, boys. What are you calling? Hey, they right up here. Look, we already know y'all game. We know y'all taking. The gig is up. The gig is up. The gig is up.
You know what would you do? Would you defend yourself? Would you defend yourself? If more people was attacking you, what would you do? What would you do? Would you defend yourself?
Guess what, young lady? The video has been played for the jury. There were not 4 people attacking Karmelo. It was Karmelo and Austin. That's it. Karmelo, it acknowledged that he stabbed Austin. He admitted that he stabbed Austin. You want to know why? Because Austin put his hands on Karmelo. Because someone lied to Karmelo and said, nobody's allowed to touch you. If they touch you, then you get to kill them. And that is not true in our country. You do not get to do that. He doesn't even, listen, this poor kid, he doesn't even get to use stand your ground defense. You want to know why? Because he was exactly where he was not supposed to be. He wasn't following the rules. He wasn't on his own property. He wasn't even in the designated area for his own school. It's another one of those situations where he broke the rules. He went to the tent that he was absolutely not supposed to be in. And then he said, well, you did a bad thing by trying to enforce the rules with me. So I had to do something about it. I had to kill you. You don't get to enforce rules on Karmelo Anthony. My mommy told me so.
Push you right into that crack. You heard what I said, cracker. Neanderthal, I don't give a fuck what you say. Y'all get fuck you, cracker. Fuck you, cracker. Fuck you.
We gotta get out of the road.
Let's get out of the road, please. Get out of the road, please.
You still a cracker. You still a cracker. You a cracker.
Calling someone a cracker is exactly the same thing as calling someone the N-word. It's exactly the same thing. It comes from the same point in history. The crackers were the slave owners that used the whips to drive the slaves. And they when they used their whip, it would make a loud cracking noise, right? And that's where the name cracker comes from, or I guess I should say racial slur. It's not about a white saltine cracker. I've seen people say that before. That's nonsense. It comes from the same exact dark, horrible, awful period of time. And it is as inappropriate as using the N-word. 100%. Now, I know, there are going to be those people that say, no, it's not the same. You got to be sensitive to the historical period in time. Okay, I'm good with all that. I'm fine. But can we try to remember here that it's the white kid that is dead? Can we do that, please? Or now we're going to start saying that it is perfectly acceptable for a black person to murder a white person because 300 years ago, there were some black people sold into slavery. I'm sorry, I don't live 300 years ago. I live now, today, 2026. And in 2026, slavery is absolutely not, it's not possible. It's illegal. I've never owned a person. None of my family members have ever owned a person. In fact, the percentage of people that did own slaves were the plantation owners. Do you know how many plantations there were in the South? Yeah, about 17. Not many. Most white people were poor as hell. Most of the white people in the South were sharecroppers. They were trying to work the land. They were working side by side with the slaves. You guys are making these blanket comments that do nothing except show your damn ignorance. Or you're intentionally misleading to create hate because you don't want white people and black people to live side by side and to work together and share their lives together. Well, I do. I want all people to get along and support each other. I don't want to look at someone and make a determination. Oh, look, this person has green eyes, or this person has brown eyes, or this person has brown hair, or they have red hair, and so I can't be their friend. That's not my world. That's not my world. But who are the people doing it? Karmelo Anthony's family's friends. That's who's doing it. So you tell me about the life that this kid grew up in. You tell me the messaging that he was getting at home, maybe even Sunday in church, because this dumbass standing here in the red hat, this little dumbass is supposed to be a preacher. So is that what was going on with Karmelo and all of his family? They go to church and learn how to be racists? Is that what led a 17-year-old kid to believe that just because there was a disagreement and some kid pushed him and said, you got to get out from underneath our tent, that was justifiable homicide? The messaging of racism, the messaging of justifiable homicide, this is telling you exactly why Austin Metcalf died. He didn't die because two 17-year-old boys, athletes, got into a fist fight. Those fist fights happen all the time. They happen out on the football field. They happen out in the hallways at school. They happen in the backyard at home. Young men fight. But Karmelo had a different idea, didn't he? Karmelo had a different idea. Somehow, someone lied to this young man and told him, you can kill a white boy if he even lays a finger on you. And Karmelo was ready for that confrontation. He brought his 5-inch blade with him. He had it accessible in a bag at a meet that he was not qualified to be at. So who lied to him? And can we get them arrested for accessory to murder? Can we do that? After they find Karmelo guilty of murder, then can we go find this preacher? Can we go find his mom and dad and the friends of his mom and dad, all the adults that were in Karmelo's life, whose job it was to teach Karmelo about love, to teach Karmelo to honor one another, to build a world where people were good to each other? Can we go find those people and hold them responsible for Karmelo's decision making that day? Because this right here, this tells you everything that you need to know about why Karmelo was walking around with a 5-inch blade and without any thought sunk it into Austin's chest. And when the police officer said, I have the alleged perpetrator in custody, you can hear Karmelo saying, it ain't alleged, I did it. I told him not to put hands on me. Karmelo thought that he had a defense. Karmelo thought that he was fine. Who taught him that?
Your time is over. Your time is over. Beautiful young man. Your time is over. Animals. Your time is over. Your time is over. Your time is over. White people are being hunted down and murdered. Your time is over. 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 This young man's life. Your time is over. Your time is over. Beautiful young man. Your time is over. Animals. Your time is over. Your time is over. Your time is over. White people are being hunted down and murdered. Your time is over. Your time is over.
White man's time is over. That's right. So while the majority of people have taken the time to talk to their children, to raise their children in a way that says racism is bad. There's no difference. Just because someone looks different than you look, it doesn't mean that the quality of life is different. We can't judge people by the way they appear. Looks means nothing. We all have the same exact biology. We all have the same exact blood. Right? How many parents have taken time with their little ones, whether they're white, whether they're black, whether they're brown, I don't care. How many parents have been fighting this nightmare of racism by raising up children that are sensitive to, don't listen to all of this nonsense. It's BS. Quit listening to it. And yet, I have heard more. I'm talking about obnoxious racism coming from these protesters in front of the Collin County Courthouse, the supporters of Karmelo Anthony, who, if you go back over the last year and you start reviewing all of the newscast, all of the video that's been obtained by the news, the journalist, these are people that are friends with Karmelo's mom and dad. And they might be church buddies. I don't know. I don't know. They got Karmelo arrested. They got Austin Metcalf dead by teaching these messages of just blatant racism. The white man's time is over. The black man's in charge. If he puts a hand on you, stab his ass. So I don't know why you assholes are screaming and yelling about racism and white supremacy, because I have watched every moment of this coverage. I have not seen anybody screaming, the white man's in charge. It's a white man's world. Oh, you guys do a lot of screaming about the white supremacy judge. But I haven't actually seen the handful of people that are out there supporting Austin Metcalf. I haven't seen them calling you guys names. They haven't looked at the Karmelo Anthony protesters and called you guys the N-word. They haven't looked at you and screamed in your face that the black man's time is done and that now it's a white man's world. I hadn't heard none of that nonsense. The only racist crap I've heard has come directly from the friends and family of Karmelo Anthony. And that's all I need to see to answer the question, what in the world made a 17-year-old kid, a high school athlete who's used to being coached, he's used to following the rules, what in God's name made him go into an area that he was breaking the rules, many rules? He went underneath that tent and said, I dare you, touch me, see what happens, and then proceeds to murder a kid, somebody that he played football against. Who told him that you're not allowed to touch another person? Who told him that? All right. Hey, Miss Jamie. No, thank you so much. And yeah, there'll be plenty of it to watch on TV. The trial is not on TV, but they're showing all of this demonstration and arguing and stuff. So look, this is super sad. It is devastating that both of these young men have now lost their lives, right? Austin Metcalf is gone, leaving behind an identical brother, a mom, a dad, people that loved him. He's gone. So much potential lost. Any children he would have had will never see the light of day on this earth. So much lost. But same thing is true of Karmelo. He'll be found guilty because he is. He'll be found guilty, and all of the children that he would have fathered, they'll never see the light of day on this earth. And that is a tragic, horrible loss. We have to be responsible with the young people that are in our families and that are in our communities. This freedom of racism is destroying our children. You guys may really enjoy getting out there. Oh, cracker, yo, cracker, you still a cracker. That same little asshole, that same little pastor. Do you know at one point he says, and I quote, the only good cracker is a dead cracker. They're chanting it. The only good cracker is a dead cracker. The only good cracker is a dead cracker. You are literally calling for the death of people. You don't think the young people in your church are watching? You don't think they're listening to you? You don't think those young people are impressionable? This is so eye-opening and terrifying. It's terrifying. We are responsible for the examples that we set for those young people that are in our families and the young people that are in our communities. No, we cannot hate people because they're look different. We can't do that. There's nothing good is ever going to come from that. The only thing that comes from that is death and destruction. That is it. It's not the white man's time. It's not the black man's time. It's none of that nonsense. That man getting up there and saying those things is 100% pure, unadulterated racism. He's making the case. The little friends out there, they're making the case that this is a hate crime. And what do you think is going to happen if this nonsense is going on when jury selection starts? They didn't even wait for the damn trial to start. They didn't even wait for actual testimony. They were out there doing this nonsense when they had jurors that were pulling up to the courthouse. Is that jury intimidation? Are they trying to make the jurors frightened? Because it looks like it to me. Guess what, big fat boy? That's a crime. Jury intimidation is a crime. I hope they arrest your gross racist ass. Nasty bastard. If you guys were not in Karmelo's life, he never would have done what he did. If those parents had been teaching messages of love and support and tolerance, Karmelo never would have killed Austin Metcalf. That is the truth. He felt that he was able to because of what these people put in his head. And I'm just not going to sit back and play and pretend like this isn't real. It is real. A 17-year-old kid is coachable, right? He's playing ball. He's got coaches, white coaches. He's doing what he's told to do on the team. No, he never would have said, oh, well, let me take my knife with me just in case, and I'm going to taunt a white kid to put his hands on me, and then I'm justified to stab him to death. Stop. No, this kid believed that it was okay. He literally believed it was okay. Why? Because he was listening to these nuts. That's why. All right. My rant is over. I am so disgusted with what has come out. I was already disgusted. Like I saw it building and I was like, oh, please no. Let's just stop the nonsense, right? And then when I saw the clip of this idiot saying the only good cracker is a dead cracker, and he's screaming into the faces of police officers, you're a cracker, you're a cracker. He's screaming at them to take their face mask off. They're a cracker. You're still a cracker. This is the problem, y'all. Austin Metcalf was not the problem. The problem was the parents and their friends and the messaging that Karmelo got at home. That's the problem. All right. Bling says, check the video I just texted. Bill, do you see my phone in there at the table? I mean, for goodness sake, people, let's not do this whole riot thing, okay? Nothing good will come of it. Only bad will come of that. And I mean, it will be bad for the African-American community. It's not going to be the white people that are out there and go riot and set police cars on fire. And that you don't don't follow this path. Think through these terrible things that are. We can't run around killing each other, people. I don't know how else you say it. You don't get to kill people that you just don't like. You don't get to do that. It's not allowed. We don't do it. And it is that simple. Just because there's someone you don't like, you don't get to kill them. Not in the United States of America. That is not how we live our lives here. So, all right. Hopefully that is going to be this is going to be the only day that I am incensed and driven to make commentary on this tragic, horrible trial. There is nothing good. There is no way to come up with anything good in this whole mess. It is just bad. all the way across the board. But I believe in my heart of hearts, it is a very important message. It is a very, very necessary message to give some consideration, give some thought to the idea that perhaps the people that I've shown you today, the words they've used, the way that they have spoken, that those are things that Karmelo was getting at home and at church and with his parents' friend group. And it gave him the illusion, he had the belief that he could do this violent act. And now it's done. And he'll go to prison for the rest of his life with adult men, with adult criminals. His mom and dad did this. White people did not do it. Austin Metcalf's father did not do it. It was the messaging that this young man got as he was growing up. I didn't believe that, wasn't in my mind at all. I just thought, what creates this scenario? Like, what in the world did this young man when did this happen, Bling? I'll tell you, I've got my phone, but it's having to charge. One of my best friend's sons was just murdered. Oh no. Road rage coming up. Oh my God. Oh, so sorry, Bling. You see, this is what happens from all the race bullshit. This is it right here. Man. It's craziness, isn't it? It's just insanity. Let's see. I don't see your, oh, maybe you sent it to my Gmail account. It's right across from the Frisco police station. He got out of the car to confront, and the guy shot him twice in the chest. He turned around and he shot him in the back. My God. Okay, I'll find it. I'm not seeing it right now, Bling, but I'll find it and I'll do a video on it. Oh, so sad. Yeah. Okay. So the racist messaging that is happening in front of this trial, in front of this courthouse, this is what set Karmelo Anthony up to believe that he could do what he did. And now we've got one kid who's lost his life, and we've got another kid who is going to basically spend the rest of his life in prison. And the adults are acting like fools. Somebody's got to just say the truth. We, the parents, we, the educators, we, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, we should be teaching love and equality. So we're not dealing with this nonsense anymore. But the people that have come out to support Karmelo Anthony are people that have shown up in news video standing directly with mom and dad. How much of this militant bullshit was this kid listening to at home? And they're getting rich, Sketty Nona. Absolutely right. Yep. All right. So rant over. And, you know, if you believe in what I'm saying, that we have a sense of responsibility, that our young people and our families and our friends and the community, that we should be modeling love, that we should not be teaching them to be racist. And that goes for all of us, every one of us. All right. You guys have a wonderful evening. Bling, I'm going to check out the stuff right now. And I do want to talk about like your friend's son, because that is absolute nightmare. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Thank you for listening. Please hit the subscribe button. If you haven't, hit the thumbs up, and I'll be back. I've got a video that I'm working on related to what is happening to Christina Mack and Lauren Matthias. All right. Okay. See y'all later.